I'm guessing you probably had the idea to build your own SaaS business, but did you know you can do it without writing a single line of code? And we've all heard about AI, but what actually is it, and what is an AI SaaS, and why is everyone talking about it? And on top of that, is no code a viable solution to build these applications? Is it even possible? And can you actually build scalable MVPs on these frameworks? In this video, I'm going to answer all the above questions and actually detail you the step-by-step process on how you can build no code scalable AI SaaS apps quickly. Hey everyone, my name is Adam. I'm a certified bubble expert, a top 1% freelancer on Upwork, and I'm also a no-code agency founder. My agency, called APG Software Solutions, has delivered over 60 no-code applications for clients over the past few years alone. And in this video, I'm going to talk you through how we built them, how they actually work, so that you understand how you can build one for yourself. Now, before we do a deep dive into the real technical aspects of these SaaS apps, I'm going to explain why they're built on no-code. No-code is uniquely positioned to build these MVPs for a variety of reasons. Number one being you can build apps really quickly. Now, I'm not sure how familiar you are with these frameworks, and I talk about them in a lot of other videos, but some of the popular tools out there like Bubble, Flutterflow, and Adalo are uniquely positioned to push out these kind of AI SaaS MVPs in as little as 4 to 8 weeks, which is pretty revolutionary for the tech space. On top of that, we can actually iterate on products and release new features, often a lot quicker than other traditional coding solutions. And for a space like AI, which is still under 3 years old and is constantly pushing new updates and new opportunities for all these companies that are doing SaaSes around these platforms, it's important to be super quick, because if you're too slow, you're going to fall behind in the market and lose out to your competition. So what I'm going to do is take you through the framework on what most of these no-code AI SaaS applications actually look like at a high level. So what we usually start with, and what's not common to AI SaaSes in particular, but really just in any SaaS, is some sort of high converting landing page. So I'm going to go here and just put your landing page. Please excuse my handwriting. So landing page, and you'll see this on anyone, really with a call to action or a CTA somewhere on there that's going to take you to some sort of sign up, login, or authentication method usually. So we're going to go here, we're going to go sign up / login. Now, what usually happens, and it's usually in this step, but sometimes throughout your application, is you usually again go from here to some sort of dashboard. And what happens at this stage is you've given the user access into your app, but what you usually want to do is you tease them with functionality. So in some of the cases, we built a marketing campaign generation service, for example. And what we did was we had a nice converting landing page. We took them to the sign up and login. We took them through to the dashboard, and we did some slight AI generation for them. So if you think about a big marketing campaign, we took some of their business details in the onboarding flow. I'm actually going to go put here and go onboarding, because for certain apps, you'll have some sort of onboarding. And what this does is essentially gathers information for your AI agent, right? To have a SaaS application, an AI SaaS application, it has to offer some sort of value. The whole point of the AI is to take something from the user, use this AI model that's really well trained and often better than humans and much cheaper, to take that information, do something with it, and return the result. So that's going to come back down to here. Now, once you get to the dashboard, and it depends on how you want to set this up, the way we had it was we teased them with some of the functionality. We generated just 1/10 of their marketing campaign, and then we put kind of locks on all of the other components, teased them with the subscription models to access more content. Now, whereabouts in your SaaS app that subscription model is, doesn't really matter. It's going to change based on the SaaS applications, but what you usually have is subscription somewhere. Sorry, my handwriting is horrible. So they have a subscription service, and then from here they get full access to AI value. So in our case, full access of the AI value was marketing campaigns. So we gave them access to a complete marketing campaign, and then we used Stripe as a payment processor, which is one of the most common for these use cases, to actually charge them subscriptions. We gave them a different amount of credits per month, and that controlled how many marketing campaigns they could generate for their business. So the basic plan was $20, and that got you 1 credit per month. The standard plan, 5 credits per month, $50, and then the pro plan, 10 credits per month, $100. Now that's how this works. What I want to talk about a bit more is the AI process. So that's going to be down here. Now, how these AI models work, you've got 3 layers usually of complexity in AI functionality in these SaaS apps. And I'm going to talk through each one. So number one is just your chat GPT interface or your chat messaging that we're all familiar with. So I'm going to call this basic. I'm going to call this chat GPT, or similar from one of the other competitors out there. Now this is really basic. You can integrate with this via API, and you can send requests like we all do in ChatGPT if you're familiar with that, and get responses. Now you've got your layer 2 of complexity, which is assistance. So what assistants are is within GPT, and you can actually do this on the client side as well. And by that, I mean in GPT's user-friendly kind of portal where we all access ChatGPT. You can train assistants to return more accurate results, and you can provide instructions to them one time. And then instead of having to provide instructions every time you want to get a response, like you have to do with the messages API, you can actually just provide some information and those instructions will run every single time you call the assistant. Every assistant has 3 components to it. So we have from here, we have 1, 2, and 3. So 1 being the LLM. LLM stands for large language model. We usually use OpenAI when we set these kind of things up. Underneath that, you have instructions. Now, these are what you tell your assistant to do. So let's say, for example, you trained an OpenAI assistant to recommend you meal plans every time you had dinner. So you put in the instructions, you'd say, you're going to receive, let's say, for example, a day of the week. So I'm going to provide you with a day of the week. Please generate a complete meal plan from start to finish on how to prepare the food, cook the food, and serve the food for the given day in the week. So if I pass Wednesday, the assistant, all I need to pass to the assistant via the API or via the chat is the day, Wednesday, and it's going to respond with the complete list of food. So what that essentially means is every time I prompt the chat, I don't need to include this entire context of what I want the assistant to respond with. It's pre-trained on these instructions, so I just need to provide it with an input and it already has instructions to generate an output. And then number 3 is your knowledge base. Now, what do I mean by that? This can get a little bit complicated, but basically, in simple terms, the knowledge base is some documentation or some files that you want to upload that the AI can source its responses from. So common use cases for these are company data. Let's say they want to create an assistant that responds to inbound leads who are asking questions about the company. They'll usually create an AI assistant, they'll pick an LLM, they'll give it instructions to respond to inquiries to the instructions could be, hi, you are an admin at this company. Please respond to any questions you get about the company with the relevant information and then follow up with these contact details so that the lead can follow us up or give us a ring in person. That could be an example for instructions. And then the knowledge base would be a large amount of documents for, you could have all this knowledge about your company branding guidelines, document PDF files about who your company is, and then any other things relevant to your company. If you work in, let's say, for example, a construction company, you could have a long list of files, history on all the jobs you've completed. So if someone came in and wanted to get a specific quote for the construction of a pool in their backyard, if you had a knowledge base of 10 previous quotes that you sent out for pools in people's backyards, the AI assistant could use that knowledge base to increase the accuracy of its response. Step 3 is what is commonly called as a RAG flow, which is actually can be done through this to a degree. But RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. It basically means chaining AI events together and really getting into that next level of using things like vector databases, different LLMs, and all of that kind of stuff to build a complex AI generation flow, essentially. Now, these are kind of your 3 layers of complexity that we found when we build AI solutions for our clients. And you'll be sending to one of those once the subscription gets paid. You're coming down here, and then one of these types of, I'm going to call these AI agent or assistant. You can call it whatever you want. One of those, you're going to get this data that you received in the onboarding or wherever you received it. It's going to come to your AI agent, and that's what's going to generate the value to your customer. So whether that's a report, whether that's a chatbot, whatever that is, that's what gets provided to your customer. And here you have an AI SaaS application. So to summarize how this works in some more detail, we have a landing page. The user comes through and they sign up or they log in into your platform. Now at some point before the subscription, usually you're going to get some sort of information about that user. We're going to use the marketing campaign example again. We're going to get information about their business so that we can generate a marketing campaign for that user. Then what happens is they pay their subscription and they go to generate their report, which is the purpose of your SaaS application. So what happens is we now have their information. We send that information off to an AI agent, which is of one of these three complexities usually. And then that AI agent takes that information, it uses it to generate some sort of focused output. In this case, it's a marketing campaign report, and it returns that to your application, which is the value to your client. Now, these can be extremely profitable. If you charge typically, and this is a complete ballpark figure, but it's quite cheap per request that you make to OpenAI on average. Now, obviously, if you're dealing with large files and complex RAG flows, it really can depend, but it's typically very cheap. And so the real value in these kind of applications is charging a fairly large monthly fee and saving some serious money on the AI agent, but it's also a win-win for both you and the user if you set it up correctly, because this typically aims to address a really repetitive process that clients have difficulty with. One is a marketing campaign. To hire a professional marketing consultant with lots of experience, typically very expensive. But if one professional marketing agent with a lot of experience can come and train an AI agent on all of the knowledge that that selected person has developed over the past 30 years in industry, for example, and this AI agent can replicate those responses to a high degree of accuracy and generate those reports for a cheap, let's say $50 a month, technically you've provided a lot of value to the user because they no longer have to pay an expensive marketing consultant to build them a really detailed marketing campaign. You've made a lot of money for yourself because aside from building this application, it now functions by itself and really doesn't have to require much input from you. And you've provided value to the user. So it's really a win-win, which is the whole point or the selling point of building these SaaS applications. Now, to wrap this off, how does this relate to no code? Now, the real point of no code is being able to build a dashboard, integrate with OpenAI and Stripe, which are usually the two integrations that are pretty common for most of these applications, and being able to churn an app with this kind of structure out in 4 to 8 weeks. Now, that's pretty unheard of, and really you can build this AI SaaS application on a no code stack, for example, Bubble, in 4 to 8 weeks for pretty cheap investment. And if you solve the right market problem, you can get a pretty profitable SaaS application out of that. To illustrate how your tech stack might commonly look, I'm going to note that down here. So tech stack. Keep in mind, this is purely an example. You could have your front end, back end, and database all on one tool, Bubble. Now your AI service or LLM, I'm going to call, let's say it's OpenAI or GPT-4. Your payments processor is Stripe. Let's say you wanted two-factor authentication in email campaigns. You could use SendGrid. Now, on top of that, you've got some basic things like domain hosting, which you could use Squarespace, for example, and some of the other finer things. But I think these are main four kind of tech tools that you would need to launch an AI SaaS application. Typically, and this is the real power of no code, because on one platform, we can host our front end, our back end, and our database. We can schedule all of the requests off to a platform like OpenAI, all from Bubble's back end, and you get this nice, clean looking tech stack, which is simple. Now, simplicity usually means cheap, but it also means usable for your users and easy to adopt in the land of tech. So I hope you found this video useful and you learned a lot of things about no code, AI, and SaaS applications, and how those things can be pretty interrelated if you want them to be. If you're interested in all things no code, AI, freelancing, agency management, and more, feel free to subscribe to this channel. I'll be talking about that because that's all I do. Thank you very much for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.